let me start with today's topic. So we all know the software development life cycle. At least you would have heard it. That is where we build the software and push it out to the production where its real usage happens, right? And I was talking about the various steps that are go through when we develop a software. And I was trying to bring up to the notify you people that testing is one of the very important aspect in the software development life cycle. So if you see the life cycle, that is also a very valid step, right, in coming up with an application. So what I was trying to tell is, initially there was not much value add. I mean, people did not consider the value or did not realize the importance of testing. So initially it was just like testing the code was meant to be just by the developers, where they used to just debug the code to fix something or to just ensure things a bit work. But slowly the market or the industry started to realize that just testing the code on your own system will not suffice, right? The application will be exploited heavily by the customers in the real world. So the value of testing the application in the real world, in the real market, came into picture. So I mean, you cannot go to the market and then start trying to see how the customer uses it. Is my application able to handle so much of customer logins? Is my application in performing enough where a lot of customers can access it, or is my application breaking down at any point when it is in the market? So all this thoughts started coming into the management or the industry. So that is when this industry started feeling the value of the testing, right? Because they had to not just check their application in their own system, but had to check it in the real world also. So that is when, and even earlier, even if the testing did start a bit, that but the tester was given a very small amount of time frame to just run some test. The window for his to do his work was very less, okay? But because of this, it so happened that at the nth moment the tester used to come and test it. He used to find a bug or something which could even hold the release of the products also, okay? So this started happening, and because of that, the management or the industry started thinking a bit further, and they started thinking of bringing in software testing as a complete independent activity. And they realize that it has to go hand in hand with the software development life cycle. Actually, even with my experience, I have seen couple of products, okay? So everything was done, it came to the testing, and we got so many issues. So the release was held back, and we pushed back the code to the development to rethink, to revisit the code to ensure things work. So that is what testing can actually do. Because of all this, if you see today, the value of testing is so much that we also have a software testing life cycle itself came up, okay? Though there is a life cycle for development, we have a testing life cycle also, where you do the requirement analysis, you do the test plan, you develop the tests, right? You write the test cases, you have your environment setup done, then you test your test cases, and you report any bugs. If there are any fixes, you retest it, and then you give a closure from your testing side. And that is when, having this itself as a life cycle, right? That is when things start going hand in hand with the software development cycle. So that is where we call it something called as continuous testing. That was the value add or the value testing gained over time, along in the industry, right? So now if you think, what do we actually do in testing? So testing is simple. If you see, talk about it in lame words, you're just evaluating that the system or the product or your application is doing what it intends to do. So why do we do testing? Yes, we it prevents bugs. See, every application whoever writes, they want to go to the production bug free, right? You try to access some application, you try to click, you happen to use this shopping applications like something like Amazon, Flipkart, or anything like such. When you try to browse something, check something, and you just want to add it to the cart, you want your experience to be seamless. You don't want to see something like, okay, you added something to a cart, it's you added one item, you start seeing some 10 items getting added. Who will like that experience? No one, right? But who will ensure that it is the application is doing what it is doing? Yes, the tester who is behind that application will ensure that you give a bug free application to the system. Second thing is it reduces development cost. So yeah, finding bugs is all good, okay? Being a tester, you find the bug, but what is the time frame when you find the bug, right? Just finding a bug that the application is not doing what it is supposed to do, you find it at the last day of the release. Will it help your industry? Will it help your organization? Will it help your application development? No. Having it recognized early in the development cycle is where it does a value add. Because finding something at the nth moment, going back again, starting the entire cycle of development, fixing, testing, refixing, testing, finally taking it to the level of pushing it out to the production is really costly, right? Finding it at the earlier stage, it will reduce the development cost. That is one of the biggest advantage of having software testing. Yes, and you want to give a quality product, because a satisfied client or a customer is the one who gives you money to run any business. We all have these applications or products developed to run a business, right? To run a business, you need to give out quality products, because the competition is very high in the market. Just you might have a very good product, you might have a very good design, but if it is not doing what it is intended to do, then it's of no use. By the time you are trying to fix things and get things where the market is so fast that your competitor will come up with some similar application which does all the work and is giving a very good experience, right? So that is where testing comes into picture, and that is the value add testing can do. Okay, so few people will might also argue, right? Why do we need testing? Why do we need one group of people doing this testing? It's just unwanted, or that entire team is not required, or why do we even have them in the process? We will only test it and push it out, right? But you would have heard some examples, right? Such as big car companies. You might have heard some car companies that they have they release the cars, and they finally find a flaw in it, and they say, yeah, we are bringing getting back all those cars. Can you imagine what is the cost the company has to go through? Because they didn't find that problem early in the stage, they are finding it after it goes to the market. The cost is high. And not just the cost, what is the impact you're doing on your customer? The next time someone thinks of buying a car of that brand, they'll think, oh, you never know when they will recall it, or the model of the car I'm buying, I'm not sure whether it is all good, right? Because any moment the company can call back your car. So this is the impact or the value a proper testing can do. Okay, so testing helps you identify architectural flaws, right? Poor design decisions, or some invalid or incorrect functionality what is there in the system, if there are any vulnerables, security vulnerables, that can be figured out. And scalability, like I said, having something in your laptop or your system or your virtual machine is not how the customer uses it, right? Your application should be enough scalable, it should be enough secured enough, and it should do its functionality appropriately. And lot of design decisions, if there are something wrong, that can be caught via testing. So this is how you can understand what's the value of a software testing adds up to the application. Okay, now coming to say, okay, we understood what is the value of software testing in the development life cycle. We see that it itself has its own life cycle, that means it has something with it, right? So if you want to start your career as a software test engineer, you might get a thought, okay, who can become it? Do I need something extra to do, or how do I start my life or career with a software test engineer? So starting with the educational background, okay, you can have a basic degree, a bachelor's degree, BSc, BCA, BTech, BE, anything, okay, or you can even hold a master's degree, that also will help you. And you can also, okay, you just passed your 12th standard, okay, you could not get into any basic degree courses, something came up in your life, you couldn't start with it, right? You couldn't join a basic degree course at all, leave masters, you could not even get into a proper college to do your basic degree. What can you do? You can attend some camps, boot camps, where, and you can also attend some sessions or get into some institutes where they try to teach you how to start with your testing skills. See, having mainly being into a software test engineer, education adds on as a 50%, but your skills is what matters, right? Someone even with a basic degree can have the right skills, he can enhance his skills towards becoming a test engineer. And someone from masters, though he has a good educational background, he still has to enhance his skills to become a software engineer. So education wise, yes, anything of this sort can be considered. And even the organizations, right, they are open to take a software test engineers from having a basic degree, from engineering background or master's background, or even just with some certifications done, or some camps that they have gone through. So I, with my experience, when I started my career as software test engineer, right? So I'm from a bachelor's of engineering background, okay, but I had my colleagues in my same industry who had a basic degree, okay. So what was differently we were doing? Yes, we were doing the same type of work. We were asked to write the test cases, execute them, do the bug reporting, okay, prepare some test reports. We, everyone had to do the same thing. But yes, I do see, I personally do see, having a good educational background will enhance your work, right? Knowing something in a detailed way will definitely help you go through your work. But if you don't have it, you don't have to be disheartened. With your skills, you can enhance your skills and start getting into the software test engineer role, and you can grow your career there. So if you ask me, I'm growing in my career path with my friends or my colleagues who had a basic engineer basic degree. Do they don't have a career path today? Yes, they definitely have a career path. They are also still in the industry, they are doing things very good. So I believe having a good skill set, enhancing it, will definitely help you grow in this path. Okay, so if you are already working as a software engineer, do if you wish to switch your career to be a QA engineer, can you do that? Yes, you are open to do that, because you already have some experience how the industry works, how software development works. That will also be your added advantage when you shift yourself as a QA engineer. Because QA engineer, you don't just run your test manually, you also have automation scope, right? So you are probably your coding skills, what you have developed in your software engineer role, will help you to do your work as a QA engineer with much ease. Okay, now you might think, okay, is this a path one way, software engineer to QA engineer? Once I get into QA engineer, will I not be able to come back to development? Who told no? You can always come back to development. You can gain this experience of QA engineer, and if you wish to come back to a development role, you can definitely come. I myself am a existing example here. Like I said, I started my career as QA engineer, and I wanted to explore around the development, so I shifted it. Okay, and even industries do support you if you want to do that shift. Okay, just that you have to prove or show them that you have the enough skills what demand is demanded for that role. Okay, so when I also shifted from QA to development, I did some background learning on development. I took it as a challenge. One or two iterations, I picked up small pieces of code to write. Okay, I proved that, I showed it out to my senior management that yes, I have the capability to do it. I can do it. That is when you start getting your development piece of work. So yes, you can anytime shift your role if you definitely want to. But yes, I would call it out. You have to have the right skill set. And also obtaining, there are a lot of certificates out there, okay, which will stamp you that you have a good understanding of how testing field work, right? There are some certificates, something like ISTQB, right? International Software Testing Qualification Board, ASTQB, and IIST. So these are all various certification boards who will give you certificates. Now you can ask me, do I, if you just want to start your career, do I have to definitely get a certificate? No, but having a certificate, will it help you? Yes, definitely. It will add you a added advantage in your resume. Imagine having a resume, two people having a similar career path, similar resume. Okay, having a certificate, yes, it will catch the eye of your interviewer, because he'll say, oh, he has already a certificate done. If a board is certifying you that you have the certificate, obviously that person carries something extra, right? That is only when you get a certificate. Just like that, no one will give you a certificate, right? So yes, having some certificates around that will also definitely boost your resume, will boost your career. But if you are not able to get a certificate, don't feel disheartened. Like I always call out, having the right skill set and having the right attitude will definitely make you grow as start a path as a software test engineer. So let me talk about, okay, now you understood you want to do the career, start your career as a tester. So what does a tester do on day to day? What will be his activity? How does his day look? Okay, so starting with couple of key aspects: gathering requirement specifications. So you, in your software development life cycle, you see here there was planning, analysis, design, right? So do you think that design calls or design discussions be with your architect, do you think it is just the job of the developer? No, it is. You as a tester, you should be also part of the design calls. That is when you understand what is the code, they are writing, or the application they are designing. What you can understand, what is the application they are designing, what is the purpose it solves, what is the need it is going to answer, right? So just being, not just never think that, okay, I'm a tester, let the developer give me the code, then let me test a bit and say whether it works or not. No, start getting involved in the design calls. If someone is not giving you the opportunity, be vocal enough to call them out to to tell your management, yeah, I want to be part of the design calls, I want to understand what the application we are building up, why we are building, how we are building, what is that we are considering. So it will enhance your thinking, your way of understanding the product will differ, right? And also it will help you to think about the test cases what you want to run. Okay, see what happens there in the design call, they will be discussing something. Being a developer, his work is to having a code working, right? It so happens that in the pressure of building a code, he might always just think of having a happy path working. You can be smart enough, because you being a tester, you have heard that, right? That this something is has to be handled. You can have a test case, and you can run it to do that activity. So yes, I would definitely urge you to be part of the requirement specification, and also think what is the application is doing. See, I'll tell you, you being a tester, you are the first customer of your application. Before it crosses the gate of your industry, where before it gets into the production, you are the first customer of your application. So never think less, that you are, oh, developer is writing, what am I doing, just running some tests. No, you are the first customer to your application. If you are not confident about your application, you don't feel comfortable with what the application is doing, you have the onus, and it's your duty to call it out and throw back the code, right? You can call it out saying that, oh, I'm the customer, I'm in the shoes of the customer. Developer might have struggled a whole lot day and night to put up a screen, to do some couple of things on the application. You be a customer, because you as a tester, you are the first customer. If you're not able to easily identify what you are supposed to do, what's the point in having such a complicated code written? So that is the power of the tester. He can call out and tell it out that, oh, what have you written, what have you designed, this is not helping the customer, right? That is the value a tester can do it, right? Next, writing test condition and test cases. Yes, this is the bread and butter work of a tester. His main work is to write test cases and test conditions. But I will tell you, you should, because if you start getting into design calls, you would have heard of the test conditions, or the edge cases, what they are talking about. You can write test cases till the developer starts writing his code. So what is the tester doing? You can start carve out your test cases, think of all the test conditions the application should work. Okay, testing is not just doing a happy part testing. No, that the developer would have definitely done as part of his debugging, or as part of his unit test, right? He would have definitely done that. But what is that a tester is gonna do? You have to kill the application, do the test the application left and right. Never think that, oh, this is supposed to just do this, is it just doing that? No, you have the right to test the application left and right. Do explode the application, run any number of do performance testing, do load testing, capture the stats. Okay, give it back to the system, tell to the architect, tell to your developments, yeah, I did this testing, this is just what you can scale it out. This will take help the management to take decisions of what they can vouch out to the customers. Okay, we support, say you are your application is accepting some files. Okay, probably the intention was to handle some 5 GB file in the upload, but you will the developer sit and test a 5 GB file? No, he would have tested with, say, around 1 GB or something, and he would have said, yeah, my application is doing what it intends. You can test it to go to the 5 GB, you can try it till 6 GB, see how the system breaks. Yeah, if system is breaking, fine. Is it breaking gracefully? That is what you have to capture, that is what you have to do, that is the work of the tester, right? And test environment setup. See, I'll tell you, the developer would have had his some simple setup in his laptop where he can do his testing. But being a tester, you have to put the application how it runs in the production. If your application is a on-premise application, on-premise means everyone, the customer will download the application, install it in his system, and will he use it? Then you, as a tester, you are supposed to do that, right? You are supposed to use the application as the customer does that. It's not like, oh, developer is doing in his laptop, let me also take his he has exposed a link where you can access the application, let me also take that link, test everything, and be done. No, go have put the effort to have your test environment built up. Never test in the same environment as where the developer is developing the code. No, it is not the intention of having a tester. You have to try it out in a proper environment, how the production application works. Say you would have heard some applications, okay, they I had one application in to tell call it out. We had one application where we used to call out that it works with different DB combination and different OS combination, something like Linux with Oracle, Windows with DB2, Windows with MS SQL, okay, Linux, Red Hat with even DB2. So these were like 4 to 5 environments we were supporting. Do you think developer will go and test it code in every environment? No, he would have done it in your laptop, his laptop. But as a testing team in that application, when we started doing the testing across all the environments, we saw a lot of bugs. Okay, because couple of applications will work seamlessly in couple of environments, but it breaks in a couple of environments, like I told you right just now. So we, our application was supported with Red Hat with Oracle. So lot of things which used to work with DB2 and MySQL was breaking with Oracle, because they have the couple of things had to be handled specifically for Oracle, because the DB driver things were not working in same as in par with DB2 and MS SQL. So who catches all these issues? Tester. Or else if the someone, the customer has his environment running with Oracle, everyone else is working, and for him it starts breaking, do you think the customer will be happy? No. But instead of getting a hit back from customer, be it as a tester, you can hit it back. Next, you have to run test cases. Okay, you wrote your test cases, you got your test environment ready, but even I urge you, by that time, if you have bandwidth, go ahead, write what couple of automation scripts, right, till the development is coming with his code. Have some automation scripts, have a automation suite prepared, okay, because you are part of the requirement analysis design discussions, you know what is the basic flow it has to happen, right? And some critical cases, plan to automate them, have the script ready. Yes, I agree, when the code comes or during the development, couple of things would have changed, couple of decisions would have taken, but just getting the code and after getting the code, writing a automation script as fresh takes more time. If you already have a draft layout when the development is going on, you can tweak it and run the test. That will ease your work also, right? And you have to, yes, I do also say, though you have your automation done, I would urge you to do at least some amount of manual testing. Human pair of eyes will always catch you good amount of defects, okay? And also, never always think of just doing manual, never always think of just automation. You have to plan what are the cases you want to run via automation, what are the cases you run via manual. They have to go hand in hand. So you need to plan this as a tester, you have to be prepared, you need to plan how to write this and do this, okay? And yes, you are, the main intention or main work of tester is to discover bugs and report it back to the development team, right? and for that you have to be in touch base with the development, have a good cordial relationship with them. And I tell you, whenever you are logging a bug or whenever you are testing a application, never think who is the person behind the code. No, your intention is not to test the developer, your intention is to test the application. The person who is writing the code behind the scene might be a very good friend of you. Never think that, oh, he's my friend, I know he writes good code, so I can be lenient in testing. No, you are testing the code what he has written, you are not testing the person who has written the code. You might have some harsh contact with the developer for something, some reason, the cordial relationship is not there. So just to think that, oh, I don't like that person, I somehow feel he's not doing a right job, let me catch it. No, never think that. Have an open mind, have an open fresh mind, calm mind, and start seeing the application. Just concentrate on your job, concentrate on how you want to test, what you want to do. Never think about the person behind it. Yes, if he is a very good friend of you, then it helps you channelize your thoughts and your bugs to that person easily, right? And even development person should have an open mind to accept the bugs. And I urge you to write the defects. Writing the defects is also a skill, okay? You have to be crisp and clear and be to the point on to describe what you are trying to do, what is the detailed steps you followed, what is the type of test data you used, and what is the observation, and what do you expect it to do. This will help even the developer to go ahead and reproduce the issue and come up with the proper fix for that. Okay. And yes, retest is always there, okay? Once you say you have a bug and you give it back to the developer, the moment they fix it, obviously you have to test it. But you should be smart enough on how much of retest you want to do. Just because, yes, for development, fixing might be one or two lines of code. For a tester, it's your onus to ensure the application is working, it is as is working along with this new fix. But can you sit and run all the test every day once they come up with a small fix? No, that doesn't ease the life of a tester, right? So you should be smart enough, or you should think, what is this, the code, what is the fix going in, what is the areas this impacts. So you should be smart enough to think, okay, this is impacting this particular screen, let me thoroughly test this screen, the fix is coming in this screen, thoroughly test that screen. But do you ignore the rest of the screens or rest of the part? No, that is where your automation suite comes into picture. Trigger your automation suite, let it do the testing, let it regress the code, let it come back and tell you, oh, everything is working, and on the new code change you would have tested it. Yes, you are done with your day, right? So this is how a typical day of a tester looks like. So I keep calling out, you should have skills, you should have right set of skills. Let us talk a bit about what is the skills you need to have. I understand skills cannot be acquired on one day. Overnight, you cannot have your skills gain. Okay, this has to be enhanced day to day, and it takes its own time. But if you have a eye or a thought on what is the skills you want to enhance, definitely you can enhance it, right? Like I can tell you, when I did start my career as a test engineer, yes, I didn't have any kind of specific skills. Yes, my industry helped me to go through a training program for like 3 weeks, okay, where I was spoken about what is the testing is all about, what do we like what am I talking to you today, similar kind of stuff. How do we write a test case, what we do, all this. But who gets me the skills? I have to grow it myself. None of the camps or certificates or any number of sessions can help you with the skills. You have to build it your skills your on your own. Okay, so yeah, we can briefly divide the skills as a necessary non-technical skills and technical skills. Non-technical skills, analytical skills, yes, you have to grow your analytical skills, which will help you understand the complicated system and break it into your test cases, right? They might be you are part of design discussion, or even if you are not part of the design discussion, your developer explains you what is the code doing, what is he is trying to write, right? But you should be able to visualize that and be able to write appropriate test cases, probably mock-ups or some draft, whatever during the design discussions they come up, or even when the developer explains you, you can try to understand that, and you have to write your test cases, right? You have to write your test cases, you should understand that. That is where your analytical skills come into picture. Verbal and written communication skills, like I already called out, you should be good enough to write a good bug reporting, because the other person, you never know who will be the developer working on your bug, right? If you clearly call it out, explain to them, they coming back to you again and again asking you, how do I reproduce, what did you do, when did you do, that will reduce. You can continue with your work. You don't have to be, just because you logged your bug, you need not have to sit with the developer and explain them everything. Yeah, sometimes it is needed, okay? I don't say that, yeah, you write the report, you are done with it. No, you have to explain them, but writing it crisp and clear will definitely help you. And also, not just bug reporting, writing a clean test case will always help you, okay? Now you, because not just you are not writing test case for just yourself. It's as you grow in your QA career path, you might get the work of, you get a complicated requirement, you will write some 30-40 test cases. Do you think only you will sit and test? No, probably the fresh entrants in the system who are just starting their career as a tester, a beginner, probably he will be executing his test, because even he has to learn it, right? He will start, you being a senior person, you will write the test cases. The person who is a beginner, he might run it. So having it clearly written will definitely help you. And I tell you, okay, probably many times it so happens, when you are in the design discussion or when developer is explaining, lot of things come to your mind. Okay, okay, I have to test all this stuff. But if you miss to write a test case, when you start testing it now, there is a lot of chance that you will forget it, because you will try something, you start seeing some bugs. Okay, your thought process starts channelizing in that direction. What about this other part? You will tend to forget it. It's human, everyone is human, right? You tend to forget it. So if you have a test written appropriately, clearly, that is when it will help. I urge you, when you write a test case, write it such that whoever doesn't even know the application can read through your test, follow the steps, and be able to run the test. That should be the way you write it, okay? And yes, time management or organization, it so happens, even though you are ready with your test automation, everything, the code definitely comes to the testing table when at least after some 60 to 70% of the release time is nearing, right? Because you will be under pressure, time pressure. You have to manage your time and organize your day on how do you test. See, you might get the code, you might have written some 30-40 test cases to do that. Okay, now you should be smart enough, which is the first set of tests you run, right? You should not start running a test something the in that application which it is barely touched upon. Okay, you have to first start testing things which is like too much used, heavily used. Yeah, happy path would be tested by developer, but ensure even in that happy path, try to include boundary cases, try to include critical cases. Say for example, your application has a simple field, a name field. Okay, what would have developer tested with? Think, right? ABCD or his own name, or some maximum some two names with some space. But what do you, how can you being a tester test it? You can just start keying in the same letter repetitive, say for 255 characters, 512 characters, see if it gets handled. Yes, we might not see someone with a name with 255 characters, but if your application is claiming it can support 255 characters, go ahead, test it. Who has stopped you to not test it, right? Be even with a description, right? It so happens name probably people would have tested it during development. Description, people don't tend to give much thought to that, right? You can go ahead and try with special characters, spaces, whatever random mixture of stuff. You can start doing it. No one has stopped you. Many times with some special characters, clicking on save might not work, right? That might turn out to a bug. That is where the developer has not thought about such a stuff. This is a simple example I gave you. Okay, and having the right attitude is very important. Be passionate about your work. Be passionate that you are the first customer of your application. You are trying to find what is not working in the system, and I tell you, definitely your work will be valued a lot in your industry. Never think that, oh, I'm just doing testing, will I be looked upon? Is development is just that carries high value? No, testing can turn tables. Testing can flip the decisions of the management. Testing can push the release dates. Yes, you have the power to do all that. That is why, but you should be really passionate enough. You should grow that passion. When you start testing, be happy, feel good that you are trying something new in a application. Have a open mind. Never go with presumptions. I told you, right? Never think who is the developer. Oh, I have tested this. Oh, the same thing I have to do every iteration, every new change. No, be passionate enough, be open minded. Try to do some exploration around your testing. Try to go kill that application. You have to build that passion. Without having a good passion towards your work, be it development or testing, you cannot be there for a long time. You should always be passionate about your work. Yes, technical skills, though you are not into development, having a basic knowledge about database sqls will help. And having some basic knowledge of linux commands also help. Like I explained my example, right? Having a oracle or a linux rhl combination, right? Who will do that setup for me? There will be some industries where there will be some other team to put up your test environment itself, but not everyone will have that what do you say, that luxury, right? You have to, many industries urge you to put up your own test environment, because you will, it's your own, you will be mastering it. You will know what is in the environment, what change, what version of code is there. You will be the master of that. If you start giving your test environment under someone else's control without your awareness, something might have been already put up there, right? But having a basic knowledge of running queries, how putting up databases, creating tables, inserting data, deleting data, all this will definitely help you. And having a good control over linux commands, not just linux, even on windows, using the windows os, that will definitely give you of good control. Okay, and having some experience on automation tool, right? Being a tester, you will have to automate tests, you will have to run those tests. So putting up your installing your own automation tool will definitely help you. And you no, not just see, when you if there is a automation tool in your system or your in your industry, and if it's not helping you, go ahead, explore what else automation tool can come up with you, help with you. Or if this automation tool you are working is not helping in your day to day job, then that is when you can go ahead and figure out, explore other things. Similarly, we have test management tools. Having written the test cases, keeping it in an excel sheet or keeping it to yourself will never help. Probably have a test management tool. There are a lot of tools, okay, and you start using it. They give you options of bulk importing your test cases into your system, and over there you can also have the option of marking your test case as passed or failed. And if you have a defect there, go link the defect in the system. What will this help? It will help you not just you as a tester, your lead, your test lead, your test manager, to pull out reports. And not just the lead testing team or the test lead, even anyone in the development or your architect, he might can come and see how many test cases have passed, how many defects. Okay, I logged a bug. Will this bug just impact one test case, or will it impact 8 to 10 test cases? It so happens you get a bug which blocks almost 30-40 test cases. How do you show it? In go to the test management tool, add that the defect and link all the test cases. That will the whenever the management people pull out the report, oh, they see, oh, this is a bug which is blocking 30 to 40% of the test cases for the tester. That gains the weightage, right? Then the developer will be pressurized to take action on such a defect very immediately, right? That is, and that is where you also show to the management that, yeah, see, I got a bug, it blocked me 30 cases. I got one more bug, it blocked me 50 cases. That itself talks, shows the quality of the call what is coming to your table. Yes, defect tracking tool, sometimes people have a different defect tracking tool, and sometimes they use the test management tools itself also give you the defect logging also. So yes, having an exposure on how to use your defect tracking tools will definitely help you. Okay, yeah, everyone does mistakes. Even being a tester, there are a couple of mistakes even we do. Yeah, mistakes is common. Just that you have to understand that and start improvising it. So I have put up a couple of common mistakes. Let me just talk about a bit about each one here. So starting without having a defined scope of testing, right? Without knowing what is the scope of testing, just because you got an application to test, don't start testing randomly everything, because you are time bound, right? You are blocking the release, your results will block the release. Without thinking about the scope, if you start testing, you will never end up completing in your testing, right? You will be every day you come, you run test, never ending. You have to have a defined scope, and have the scope before you start testing. Never start your testing without a test plan. Like I called you out previously itself, having a test plan where you write all the test cases will definitely help you. Because as I already spoke about, sometimes you get a bug, your mind starts getting channelized on that side. You will tend to forget other critical cases. So having a test plan will always be there, and it will help you to think back, oh, this is something which I have not tested, yes, even I have to test this, right? That will bring your mind or your work back to track. And always get your test plan reviewed and signed off, right? Writing test cases is all good, but don't keep it to yourself. Get it reviewed, be with your architect, be with your senior people in your team. You can have a peer review, right? You have some senior people in the testing stream itself, get it reviewed with them. If you have an architect and he is open to review with you, sit, get the test plan reviewed. If and also get it reviewed with the development team who is working on that, right? And get a sign off from them, which means that it should not happen that when you do testing you see a bug, and they should not come back and tell you, oh, we never claimed that we will get this working, why are you testing this part? This will come in the next milestone, you have to park this test cases. So you would have already wasted or invested your 1 day effort in testing, which is something they have not even planned to sign off, right, to release it, right? So never should that happen. And I tell you, okay, there was one, just because I was talking about this test plan review and sign off, I do remember one of my experience, okay. So one critical requirement came in. It was an ongoing application, by the way. Development team was coming up with features by features, and me being part of testing team, even I was getting part of the feature by feature testing, okay. It so happened that all I was also part of the design call, and I did also understand what is they coming up. Development started developing, so I wrote all my test cases, okay. And I, being a tester, my option is not just to write happy cases like I called out. I started writing every combination, like I do this, do this, do this, do this, all combinations, all permutation combination of cases I wrote. And I came for a review with my development team. That is when the developer started reviewing, and even I was speculative when I wrote the test plan, ki how will this combination work, this is not supposed to work. But I wrote the test case, and I went to the review call, I spoke to the developer, and I brought it up to the architect. I questioned them, how are you gonna do this, this is a design flaw. Yeah, I have written a test case, but I know this is a wrong test case, this is a wrong use case, that it should not be happened. How are we designing that this should be taken care? That is when the development team started talking, even the architect started thinking, and we went for a redesigning, because we were trying to achieve a use case which is not valid at all. So you can, I'm not just talking about myself, you can understand how much a tester can influence a product design discussions, right? And also I one more requirement, okay. I'm just talking about my real time experience here. One more requirement came in, okay. It was it the I was testing it every day. I was getting around 8 to 10 defects, and I had a, test management tool, and with for the test cases I could link the defects on the story. I was linking all the bugs I had created, and it so grew. I had at one point of time I had some 25 to 30 bugs identified. So I went to my manager and I called him out. He's my test manager. I called him out. See, I already have 30 bugs, and every day I take up a new build. I start testing. They say they claim that they fixed one or two critical defects. Every day the defect list is increasing. What do you want to me? Do you really want me to continue my testing? Because this is nowhere going. My manager took a stand. We called out the development team and we told them we are no more testing it. Go back, rethink, redesign your code, write your code properly, take a week time to properly do the coding, and then give it us to testing. This way, as a tester, you can definitely influence the product and the release, okay. And yes, testing with similar kind of test data. You should never test with same kind of every time, okay. Name, every time I go give Sridevi, every time description I gave ABCD. No, never do that. Every time, whenever you get to test every new build, take it as an opportunity to try out never new test data. And never have a, don't forget to have a regression test plan, right? Having a regression plan will ensure that your application, at least the previous, before a new fix is coming, what was it previously doing, that should never break. See, customer will never ask you to give them new features every day. They just expect whatever is working today, they expect it should work tomorrow also. Okay, they never expect whatever is working today, it just because you want to give a new flashy thing on UI, they never want the basic thing what was working yesterday to break today. No one likes it. So you should have a regression proper plan. And automation test cases, never think that, oh, I wrote automation test cases just based on the UI screen, the buttons there. You always know, right, applications are undergoing development every day, there is a feature enhancement. You should write the test cases, automated test cases, such that your rework on reworking to get the test cases working back to working back state should be minimal. Everyone wants a easy life, so you should not have something like, oh, on this button click this. You should always think about internally what's the x path being used. You should write automation suits in that fashion, such that you don't have to keep reworking it again and again. Yes, I definitely, again, it does need some rework, but it should not be like 80%, it should be like 10%, 15%, that's it. And never create automation test without validation. You have to see, just because, okay, you are given the work of automating test, you don't there are some 40 test cases written, do you have to automate all 40? No, never do that. Pick up the critical ones, which will, not just for this feature, but going forward also, it's a critical work. Then for that, plan and write the automation test. And if you see some results, okay, when you write automation suite, if you keep seeing something suddenly started failing, some test started failing, never think that, oh, it's a one time, let me see, it might be some time latency, or system didn't work. Never try to ignore things. Keep an eye. If something is failing consistently 2 to 3 times, keep an eye. Oh, you saw that it failed again 5 to 6 times, go ahead, do a manual test, you might see a bug there, right? And never think that automation will replace manual testing, never. It should go hand in hand. But how, thinking how much of percentage of automation you want to do and how much of manual is your smartness. Probably you can think of a new feature testing, whatever is coming, the new enhancement, that you can plan to have a manual testing, but all your regression you can run an automation suite. And after you do the feature enhancement testing, if you find that good enough that it has to be automated, go ahead and automate it. And never think that, oh, whatever the code you have is the final one, this will never change. No, always the code is prone to change, and it will evolve. Okay, and don't ignore code reusability. Code reusability, not just the development have to think, even testing team has to think. Whatever the automation code you write, ensure that it is reusable. You can write an automation code in a more modularized format, so that next time if something new comes up, is there a chance to reuse that piece of automation code? Yes, definitely go ahead and do it. But to do that reusability, when you write it, always plan to write it in a modularized way. In my current product, okay, we have actually implemented this concept. We have two parts of automation suites running there. One is for the backend, we have some API suites running, that is part of the continuous integration builder. Okay, it will run every day, and if we see anything breaks there, we will definitely give a manual check. But for the UI side of the test, because the UI is continuously enhancing, we have written modularized snippets, code snippets for automation. So whenever something new comes in, we try to see, okay, I have a snippet. A snippet instance, say, there are multiple actions like upload or delete or create. So what we try to do, we instead of writing one some script to do create, update, upload, delete, instead of writing it one single script, we have internally created different modular small scripts to create something for update, something for delete. Okay, that way, because we have written it that way, now whenever something new comes up, we reuse it. So that's the smartness you can bring in. Who has stopped you to not to do though? Anyone can do it, right? You can go ahead and do that. That will ease your work. Next time you come up need to write a new script, you can definitely reuse it. And selecting wrong automation tool, like I already talked out, always have tools which will help you. Never have some tool which makes your life hell. You can open up, you can, if there is something running in your application from long time, oh, you are a new person joined in, you are a beginner, but your instincts tell you, because you are running it, you find it very difficult. Never feel bad or never hinder. Go talk to your manager, talk to your lead, tell him, okay, I have this tool, I think we can explore around a new tool, go ahead and do that, right? And like I told, never overlook the continuous testing. You should always, writing regression suits is fine, but having that running in your against your code builder will definitely add an advantage. You don't have to do that manually. And never, you should never ignore the test results of the previous test run. Always have it in reference so that next time whenever you see the result, you can compare that and check that. So I just want to talk a bit about your career levels here. So we spoke in this session how you can, what's the educational background, how your day to day life looks like. Okay, you are interested in the software testing role, so you think, okay, let me start my role as a QA engineer. What is the growth? Will I my entire career lifetime be as a QA engineer itself? No. Even in the QA testing career, you can grow up your career ladder. You, anyone can join as an entry level. You will be a junior level software tester, right? That is where you are new to the industry, you are new to the testing career. What do? Probably a senior person would have written test cases. You start running the test cases. You will get used to how to run the test case, how to prepare the test case data, what is the test data which will help you run the test cases, and your bug reporting. And sometimes, yeah, couple of junior engineers or even the entry level, you will be asked to write some prepare some reports. Okay, I was, when I started my testing career, uh, preparing a everyday report. We had to prepare a everyday report which was circulated among the testing team itself. Okay, and why was that helpful? That will give a overall picture on our progress. Like I always, I told you, we testing career is like you are come at the rare end of the career development cycle, right? You have to showcase or reflect what is your status, how many tests are run, what's the bugs found there, to back to the management. That is really important. Reporting is something that will help you. Yes, every team might follow a different reporting way. Okay, so being even an entry level, you can also get your opportunity to do reporting. And sometimes if you are working in a cross country or a cross geographical industry, where you have some part of team working in India, some part of team working in US or UK, the other part of the world, right? Your, when you end up your day here, if you pass on the report to that team, they might take it forward there, right? So that is where reporting comes into picture. So these are kind of the thing you do as a junior engineer or entry level. Then as you grow with your experience and as you grow your skills, you can be promoted as a test analyst and then as a senior test analyst. So what do they typically do? They typically get into the design calls, they talk to the developers, they, if it is a very critical requirement, they write test cases. Oh yeah, I can call out, I had got to work with the critical requirement, it was so complex. You can imagine, I think we wrote around 120 test cases. Okay, so you can imagine how big the requirement was, how complex the requirement was. So probably a test analyst or a senior test analyst will get to work with such critical complex requirements and write the test cases. Okay, and those test cases can be very well run by even the test analyst or even the entry level engineers, right? And also being a senior test analyst, you will have to review the test cases written by your peers, and you can give your valid input on what other things you think of can be tested, or how can you improvise your way of testing, all those things. Yes, not just this, you can continue your career growth, you can become a test lead, and also you can become a test manager as well. Okay, and even a senior QA managers I have seen in my career. Okay, so when I in my career path, yes, when I was a software tester, in above my head, above my hierarchy, I had a manager who was a dedicated senior QA manager. Okay, nowadays you can see managers handling both development and QA, but yes, being into the QA role, definitely your career has no hindrance. You can go ahead and reach your managerial level, even being in the testing stream. You don't have to be just be in development role to grow. Okay, I'm not just appreciating or depreciating here development or testing, I'm just trying to call out, being a testing role, your career is not at the end. You can also have a very good career path